Hey there, welcome to another installment of this YouTube video channel. I want to talk to you a little bit about a camera that I've been enjoying using lately quite a bit, and kind of tell you why I think it's a really good deal and why a lot of more people should consider going for it. So basically, as we entered the 21st century, there were some pretty cool film cameras that were entering the market, but that was just before digital started taking over, and as we all know, most photographers just ditched film really fast and moved on to digital. So what ended up being is that some of these cameras were made and used for a few years, and then they just kind of gotten forgotten to time. And because they're not those classics from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s, whatever, that we all love and use, and some of us have collections of, this particular camera, which is Nikon N80 or F80 in Europe, kind of fell into not being remembered as much, especially since it's a little brother to Nikon F100, which is a magnesium alloy body, I believe, a lot stronger built, bigger, stronger camera that is then a little brother to the, I believe, Nikon D5, which was, Nikon F5, which was the professional film camera at the time. So the cool part about this camera is that I bought this particular one for $20 from Robert's Camera, and it was in a perfect working condition. That was without the lens. And I wasn't really sure what to expect from it, but turns out as I started using it, I was like, wow, I really like this camera. And here's some of the reasons why I like it. First of all, I don't think one should kind of overlook the beauty of the Nikon grip. All the Nikon DSLRs that I've ever owned, one of my favorite things was how I can just hold them in my hand. And I can almost hang it on two fingers as I'm walking around, maybe if I have a strap to make sure it doesn't fall off. And it just kind of balances in the hand really well. I always feel like I'm ready to take a shot. I don't really have to think about much of anything. So grip is one of the great things. And of course it's a grip that you see in all the DSLRs that came after it. So you kind of get that same convenience. It's an autofocus camera. So basically it has 5 autofocus points, which in my opinion is plenty for what I do. You have the ability here on the back to actually make changes between the single autofocus point or multiple autofocus point, and you can pick which points you want. Usually I just leave mine on all 5 and it just works just fine. Next you have basically here on the left wheel different kinds of settings like manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, and program, which is PASM modes, pretty much everything that you'll ever want. You have the ISO override if you don't like the DX that's read off the film. You can change it and adjust it. It has a very broad range. I don't honestly remember what it is. I think from ISO 6 to like 6400 or something. Plenty for most of your applications. And it has what is probably my favorite thing, 3D matrix system. 3D matrix metering is basically a type of metering that Nikon has developed to where it looks at all kinds of areas of the scene that you're trying to take a picture of, and then a computer tries to compare that with, in essence, what are known images that were exposed correctly and that it has in its database, and then from that it tries to decide what is the best mix of exposure for that particular image. So especially if you're shooting something like slide film with this, I think that 3D matrix metering would come in really handy. I gotta tell you though, I haven't tried slide film with it yet, so I can't speak from experience. You also do have a selector just like on all DSLRs to go center weighted, or you can go spot metering, so that's pretty cool as well. It does have a little light here, so you can see in the dark. You can see the LCD screen in the dark. You can make adjustments to f-stop by spinning the front wheel, and shutter speed to spin the back wheel. And then when you're all set and ready to take a picture, you focus obviously, and just listen to the sound that it makes or it doesn't make. This included actually moving the film forward. And when you're out and about, I actually find this to be one of the quieter cameras that I've ever shot with. It's not silent, don't get me wrong, but comparative to the kind of winding noise I hear from a lot of motor-driven cameras, this one is really quiet. So I think you get a kind of a nice sound out of it, and with the matrix metering, with autofocus, with everything else, it actually lets you just kind of focus on photography, which is what I sometimes want. I want to also talk a little bit about this lens. This is a 85mm 118 lens. And the reason why I love this lens is because it's kind of a sweet spot for portraits. And 1.8 actually gives it quite a bit of light. So I'm actually going to be doing a wedding reception. Somebody asked me to kind of create, what do you want to call it, a documentary style series of photographs that we can share with the groom and the bride when the wedding's over. And so I thought that taking this combination with me would be just awesome. The reason being is that I'm hoping that if I load it with some Tri-X and shoot it at 800 or 1600, depending on what the lighting looks like inside the room, and then go with a faster lens like this, I can grab a lot of shots, not having to worry a lot about exposure, and knowing the camera is going to do a good job with 3D matrix metering and everything else. It's very light, so I know that I'm also not going to get tired from carrying it around. The lens not so much, but the camera itself is, but nonetheless the whole package as a whole is pretty good. There's some other things here that might be worth mentioning that I forgot to mention first time around. Like for instance, it has a bracket mode that you can set different brackets, so that's kind of nice. You can control the flash with front curtain sync, back curtain sync, red eye reduction, all kinds of different things like that. And I have mounted an SB28 flash on this before, and it's actually also very good. It does have a built-in flash also, just like your modern DSLRs, and this comes in handy in some tight pinch situations, or maybe even when you're outside when there's plenty of light, but you just kind of want to create some catch light in the eye or something like that. It comes in handy also. It does very well at blending the available light with the flashlight to where it almost never looks like you're taking a picture with flash. So it is a little brother to F100, like I said, so you know, if you love the F100, more power to you, that's fine, but one of these F100s will cost you like $200, whereas this one will cost you $20, and for what it is and how it works and stop shutter speed of 4,000th of a second and all these other fun things about it, I think it's a really good buy. So that's my thoughts on the Nikon 800, and you know what, for as little money as it costs, I'd say buy one and give it a go, see what you think. If you don't like it, I'm sure you can sell it for what you invested in it. So thanks for watching.